Alright, this is going to be the last of our four-part series on graphing quadratics when they're written in vertex form. Alright, in this video we're going to put everything we've learned together, and you'll notice now we have an a value in our equation, just like in this one in pink here. We have a number out front of the parentheses, our coefficient. We have a house with an h value, just like in the standard form. And we have the cool kid hanging out on the back here. The cool kid hanging out on the back. So from here, now we need to look at our equation and we need to follow the same steps that we've been doing. And we need to start with step one, which is to always start with identifying the vertex. So we need to ask ourselves, what is h and what is k in this equation? Okay, using the pink equation as a reference, we can see that h is in a house with the x. All right, and in this case, we have x plus 7. But remember, h is the rebel child. He's the one with the character defect, which means we always do the opposite. So when we see a plus 7 that's written in the equation, the vertex itself is going to have -7. Okay, and on the contrast, we have a k value here, but k is that cool kid who's always doing what's expected. So when we see plus 3 in the equation like we do here, when we write the ordered pair, we also get a +3. Okay, so the vertex of this parabola is going to be -7, 3. Okay, and now from there we can move on to step 2, which is to create the table. We get our x and our y on the sides. And right smack in the center of our table, we get the ordered pair -7, 3, because that is our vertex. That's our center point. Okay, and then from there we go 1 to the left and 1 to the right of -7. So looking at the graph as a reference, we see we have -7 here, and then we have -6 and -5 to one direction, and -8 and -9 to the other. So that's how we want to do our table. -8 and -9 can go on top, -6 and -5 can go on the bottom. Okay, again, always want to remember we're doing sequential numbers and we're going by ones in this case because this is an example where a value is a whole number. Okay, once we have the left side of the table set up, then we can set up the center, which is to fill in the equation with the numbers. So our equation is going to be -4, parenthesis, and then in the place of x we got -9, plus 7 squared, plus 3. And then we can continue that on. We got -4, parenthesis, -8, plus 7 squared, plus 3. Skip the center point because we've already done it. We already have it. And we move on to the next one. We got -4, parenthesis, -6 plus 7 squared, plus 3. And then finally, that last one, we get -4, -5 plus 7 squared, plus 3. Okay, now it's about putting this in a calculator. So make sure that you're using the correct negative sign button on the calculator. Make sure you're using the right parentheses in the right spot. Okay. So we're going to get -9 plus 7 is -2. -2 squared is going to be 4 times -4 in front is going to be -16 plus 3 is going to be -13, which means we're going to get that also down here on the bottom. Then we get -8 plus 7 is going to be -1. -1 squared is 1. 1 times -4 is -4. And then -4 plus 3, we get -1. And another -1. Okay, and now we have a completed table, so we can move on to plotting our graph. So we start with the vertex, just like always, -7, 3. And then -13 is actually one of those numbers that's too low. So this is the example where we just do the 3 centers. Right, -6, -1, -8, -1, and from there, we can plot our graph. Okay, and that's an example of graphing a quadratic when we have both the h and the k value, as well as a value out in front, so it's about associating which numbers correctly. Again, remember, you should always have that U shape, so if you don't get a U shape, most likely you did something wrong, and I'm going to likely suspect that it's going to be the sign with the h value. So remember, h is a rebel. H is a rebel. Okay? You have enough example problems here. You should be able to do most of your assignments, so best of luck.